I'll now recognize myself for 5 minutes for questions. I'd like to ask Mr. Taylor the first question, if I could, about the Supremacy Clause of the United States Constitution. As a nation, we value our federalism, and we try to let states regulate when appropriate, yet the founders recognize the supremacy of the Congress in matters of interstate commerce. Sometimes we need a predictable standard to avoid impairing commerce among the states. Can you please discuss the need for a federal standard for financial data privacy that potentially could preempt state regulations?
Yeah, absolutely. And others on the panel are focused, I think, on preemption a little bit from the burden and the patchwork standpoint. I approach it from a consumer standpoint, which it seems inequitable to me that the privacy rights you have for your sensitive financial information are going to be dictated by the state in which you live. That's not fair. And this is, I think, inarguable, very sensitive information, and I think we need a single standard, and not a weak standard, but a strong standard that applies across the board.
Mr. Baums, if I could get into another area. In the context of the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, the GBLA, do you believe that consumers have sufficient understanding of the risks of sharing their non-public information to make an informed decision?
Congressman, thanks for the question. I think our view is that, generally speaking, consumers and small businesses are smart enough to decide, when presented with clear and conspicuous disclosures, whether they are comfortable sharing their data for an open banking use case, and to weigh that against the benefit that they would receive from the product that they are going to be enrolling in. As I think you know, the GLBA requires that disclosure and transparency at the point of interaction, when you're first saying, I want this service and I want to share my data with it. And then pursuant to the GLBA and other both statutory and contractual and regulatory requirements, the open banking-enabled products, tools, and services that our members offer operate on the principle of necessity, which is that to the extent that NPI is being collected, it's only the NPI that's necessary to deliver the use case that the consumer has said, I want.
And Ms. Kim, one of the questions that came up earlier that I asked Mr. Taylor deals with, again, this issue of the interstate commerce issue. I'd like to know your opinion on that as well, if we could, please.
Yes, so because of the patchwork of federal privacy laws and state comprehensive laws, I would agree with a lot of my co-panelists that it has hurt interstate commerce because it serves as a barrier to entry for many businesses, financial institutions who maybe cannot afford to do business in those areas.
And go Mr. Taylor again. The idea that the opt-out rates are less than 7%. How do we solve an issue like that in a more proactive manner to actually look out for consumers? Because many of them just aren't aware of the risks that are associated with this.
This is truly a very challenging issue. And, as I noted in my oral testimony, I believe that billions of privacy notices have been physically mailed to customers under the GLBA over the past 25 years. So there's certainly notice is being accomplished, and the banking agencies developed a model privacy form that was intended to simplify it and make a privacy notice like a nutritional label, for example, and make it more easily understood. So, it is candidly, as a practitioner working with financial institutions, it's baffled me that opt-out rates are so low, but I'm not ready to take that control and make the decision for consumers and flip over to an opt-in regime.
All right, at this time, I'll yield back my time, and